with a warning here. Certainly with the severe thunderstorm warning, gusty winds, heavy rainfall, thunder and lightning, and a bit of hail will definitely be major threats as well. But as we look at the flash flood warnings, we pop right back over here to Ashtabula County. Ashtabula, this is Ashtabula and also portions of Lake County. These are the areas that we're watching, at least at this point. This is where my focus is going to be. So let's talk about what are the major threats within this area. So here is, I'll put this in play mode for you. You can see where this green is toward the radar. Our radar beam is picking up from Cleveland Hopkins Airport. Rotating towards the radar is indicative of the green. Away from the radar is the red. This is showing that there is some rotation happening in our atmosphere. We have those low-level winds. This is a point where we kind of try to educate you kind of a little bit of layman's of what's happening in the atmosphere. Our low-level winds as it stands right now, and I'll put this up where you can see for northeast Ohio. As this frontal boundary is coming on in, what it's doing is it's pulling air from the south and it's pulling air from the mid-level. So our atmosphere is stacked. Low level, mid-level, upper level. Upper level, typically the jet stream. Mid-level, usually one of these extratropical type of systems coming in. Low pressure system, typically. It's very, very unstable air. And then you have your low-level winds, which is the surface winds. Surface winds are really what drives our systems that move in, and the mid-level winds react to that. So as of right now, we have that low-pressure system centered right across northeast Ohio, and it is pulling from all different directions. And Ashtabula County and portions of Lake County is where sort of that friction is happening within the atmosphere at this hour. So, okay, the full scope. Cold front moving in. We have some turbulence happening in our atmosphere over towards Ashtabula and also Lake County. This is for our friends there within this watch box, including Geneva, Harpersfield, along I-90, stretching from Baker Road Park all the way over to near Austinburg. That is all on Interstate 90. South of Geneva, including Harpersburg. Look at this. We also have 534, 307, and routes 84 embedded within this as well. So this is likely a rural area, but of course they still need some coverage for you as well. National Weather Service just said that this flash flood warning again is for Lorain County continuing through about 8:45, so that's just in right now. Let's go back to the velocity product again, showing you what this looks like on radar for us here. Doppler wind velocity again, gauging what it looks like with the atmosphere and that rotation that's happening. I'll also pop up for you our shear product as well, and you can see we got a pretty significant bullseye, boom, right there. So no doubt, just along the Ashtabula Lake County line, there is likely going to be some rotation happening here. People within this area, they may be seeing at least a funnel cloud. As of right now, again, we don't have any sort of reports within this area of what's happening, but radar is indicating that there is likely to be a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near the Madison area. So that again, about 8 miles south of Geneva on the lake, slowing its progression now at about 5 miles per hour. So it is crawling within this area. Our shear track showing that this is moving again due northeast at roughly about 5 miles per hour. So this is the track that it is likely to take here. My arrow's a little bit off there, but that's okay. Northeast, moving closer to the Harpersfield area. Harpersfield, you're next in line for this tornadic type of event to happen to you. Then thereafter is likely to be Austinburg as well. So again, educating you on what you should be doing at this point. If you have a phone charger and it is readily available for you, while you still have power, plug that puppy in. Make sure your phone is charged just in case you lose electricity and you lose power in your home. You still have a way to get this coverage here at 3 News. Also, you can follow us on the 3 News app as well as online if you have your tablet or a computer nearby as well. The big key takeaway right now is limiting the outside and the interior of your home for any flying debris that could be happening across this area here in portions of Lake County as well as Ashtabula County. Tornado indicating that there is likely to be some rotation happening within this severe thunderstorm cell going through about 7 p.m. for this evening. So we're expecting another 20 minutes or so while this warning is still in effect. Heavy rain, this is likely to be rain rep because we've had an inundation of rain showers across northeast Ohio over the past 24 to 36 hours. So with the storm being rain wrapped, you cannot see what's happening in the atmosphere. We're trusting and we're depending on and we're tracking our radar products to indicate what's happening and telling you what's happening as well. If you are within this tornado watch box, okay, this tornado warning box, you may say, okay, Jason, what do I need to be doing right now? Well, everything that I just said. What's happening thereafter? Well, once this watch box, at least this warning box, is canceled or either moved over towards the northeast, we're still not out of the gate here. We're still expecting heavy rain to continue pulling into northeast Ohio. So we still have a flooding concern that could also loom, certainly as we lose daylight hours and go into the evening and overnight hours as well. So one of the major concerns, if and when this tornado warning is canceled, is going to be the flooding threats for us into the overnight hours and early hours for you tomorrow. If you're in rural areas and you take some of these secondary roadways through some of the farms and some of the pastures, maybe even some of the dirt roads that have low depressions in them, you want to give them an extra care as you're traveling on those if you're commuting overnight tonight to an early job tomorrow, or certainly prior to sunrise for you tomorrow as well. So what you can see there is the Doppler wind velocity. This is one of our products we use as we're talking about tornadic activity, rotation that's happening within the thunderstorm cell. We do have a very active system in this area right now, which is prompting as to why we're interrupting this coverage. As I zoom out, you can see this is the only warning that we have in effect across northeast Ohio, and this is a very linear type of progression as well for the area stretching from Ashtabula through Lake, through Cuyahoga, certainly back towards Lorain County, even stretching south to the northwestern portion of Ashland County, even including light precipitation back towards Richland County. So this is a line riding right along that cold front in the area. Lots of lightning indicating this storm system is fully charged, this boundary rather is fully charged and primed and ready to rock and roll. This is what we're having happen over towards Ashtabula County at this hour. One of the other targets that I'm looking for and looking at this hour, again, is if you're just tuning in, is Lorain County. I'll take your radar off so you can see where this warning is in effect right now and who's included in that. So if you're located just to the north of Kipton, if you're located just to the north of Oberlin, Carlisle, Eaton Estates, you're outside of it, North Ridgefield, Avon Lake, Elyria, Amherst, Lorain, and all of these little smaller communities within this warning box in green, 80, 90, even stretching back over towards near Bay Village. Our friends over there near Bay Village, even North Olmsted. You are near this flash flood warning that is in effect. So that flood advisory is encasing this, and it is including these areas indicative and also foretelling that there's some very heavy rain falling in this area, limiting visibility as well. Let's go back to, I'll come out for you and see if we can take a look at some of our traffic cams across the area, just to give a good vantage point and kind of reassess what's happening here. So earlier I was talking in the broadcast about I-90 near Murray Ridge. This is an area over towards Lorain and also Elyria County that had a plentiful amount of rainfall in this area. Lodi, you look pretty good right now. Canton, you look pretty good as well. You are certainly outside of any sort of watch box, and I think you're going to be mostly dry here for the next few hours or so. Downtown Cleveland, you're doing pretty good right now, other than some light to moderate rain showers that certainly dock overhead. If you're looking outside the window, you're like, oh, Jason, it is getting dark out there. Well, yeah, certainly, because over towards Lorain and also Elyria, that's where we had those flash flood advisories and also that flash flood warning in effect. Bedford Heights, you look pretty good here. Again, reminding everybody, if you are anywhere within these warnings at this hour, just make sure you do everything that you can to protect yourself, at least over the next couple hours. Flash flood warning, you can see, providing considerable threat for many of those people that are locating within the Elyria and also Lorain County region. That's through about 8:45, so we have another couple of hours that we're going to be enduring the very heavy rainfall there, as well as that flood advisory. So just ignore that. The flash flood warning is what I deem a major concern. Flash flooding indicating very heavy rain falling within a short period of time, leading to some pretty probable issues when it comes to our roadways, whether they're primary or secondary. As of right now, again, this is radar indicated, and sort of radar is definitely indicating that there is some very, very heavy rainfall. So this is radar estimated rainfall for the past 12 hours. We're going to take this bullseye right over Elyria. Over 3 inches of rainfall forecast in this region at this point. How about this? Let's take a look at Avon Lake. Not too much better. 3 inches of rainfall for you. Florence, you're not that bad. You're about 1.5 inches over here. But of course, we've had so much rainfall that is falling over the past 24 to 36 hours that this is going to be a probable issue for us across northeast Ohio. We don't have a whole lot of drought conditions, I will point out for you as well. So anything that the ground soaks up and gets saturated, it is just going to run off. And that's going to be an issue for us here. So there's the rainfall. That is what we're focused on at this point. Let's go back to this tornado warning that I have over here, and I give my system a chance to catch up. And we'll sort of reset here and take the region here in full, and then we'll zoom in and show you what's happening. So that's radar. Pop back up here and you can see what's happening here. As far as Medina, Summit, Portage, Wayne, Stark, Tuscarawas, Carroll, Holmes, even Holmes County right now. Holmes, you're a little bit dicey yesterday evening. Trumbull County, you're fine. Erie and also Huron County, you're fine as well. We have a band of light showers moving through Richland at this hour, but as you can see here, this area back over towards Erie and also Lorain, this is what I'm watching this area here as well as this area here as well. So let's go back over here towards our friends over in Ashtabula and see what's happening there. So this is, let me take your lightning off. Of course, there's a lot of lightning associated with that. There is the warning box for the tornado warning. I'll query this for you so you can see here. There's that tornado warning going through 7 p.m. for this evening. You can see people affected there, roughly about 14,000. But again, of course, this is I-90 at this hour on a Sunday evening where people are probably commuting, coming off of a weekend, whether they were at the lake, or maybe back over towards Cedar Point or so. They're headed back home. Perhaps they're going over towards Erie, Buffalo. If anyone that is traveling on this roadway here, they're certainly going to need to pull over if there is heavy rain, which no doubt there is, and any sort of rotation that's happening in the atmosphere. So do me a favor here. If you know anybody in this area, call them, text them, tell them to get into their safe place and get into their safe place as quickly as possible. One of the things that we want to advocate for you here is limiting any sort of space between an exterior and also an interior. This is my good friend Matt Wentz's old stomping grounds over here in Ashtabula. So all of our friends there, we want to make sure that we're taking special care for you this evening while this warning is in effect. Let me pop back up here the velocity product here, okay? Let me take away this warning box for you. Don't like to have too much on the screen, confuse you. Again, reminding everybody, this is showing that there is rotation within our atmosphere. Green toward the radar, red away from the radar. Once you get rotation happening within a thunderstorm system, it can quickly spin up and spin out, as I like to say, in some of these areas. So Harpersfield, it is right over you right now. It is just to the south of Geneva, moving northeast roughly about 5 to 10 miles per hour. So, of course, we're hoping that no one is even on the lake right now because the lake waters have been choppy. It's been scattered thunderstorms in nature across the area as well. This is an area that we are, again, really is focused on right now, and I'm going to pop back up our shear product as well. Shear really dictates what it looks like as well when it comes to the atmosphere. Rotation, ascending, climbing high in the atmosphere with strong updrafts, heavy downdrafts on the back end of a thunderstorm system, dropping lots of rainfall. You're likely over in Austinburg getting quite pretty much of a gusty wind out ahead of this system moving through you as well. Once we have those mid-level winds coming in from a differing direction than these southerly winds, and you have those strong updrafts and those downdrafts, it is no consolation for these thunderstorms to start rotating, and that's what we have happening right now. As shear is showing, we have a little bit of digression that is happening here. This is good news for us because the shear is showing that we could be having a little bit of broadening with this thunderstorm system. That means it could be losing some steam here as well. So I pop back up here and see if there's any new information coming in from that National Weather Service. Don't have anything right now, but nevertheless, we're going to stick with this here for you this evening. Put back up velocity for you so you can see this here. Again, this is including everyone within this warning box for our friends over in the Ashtabula and also Lake County region. If you're in North Madison, you're outside of it, but I have no doubt there's probably some very heavy rain, thunder, and heavy lightning. A bit of a light show that is happening over in this region. Saybrook and also Austinburg, Ashtabula, Geneva on the Lake. All of our friends there are on 534 near 45, north on 45, not quite to you there on 45, north 307. Route 11 over to the far north and east, you need to be on the lookout as well. 528, you're in the clear at this hour. Back towards Baker Road Park, you're pretty good as well at this point. Let's put up on radar and let me show you what's happening as far as radar is concerned. Heavy rain, oh yeah, this is definitely showing that there's some very heavy rain in this area. Brighter the colors indicating a heavier the rainfall, and that's what we have happening in this region. at this point. Let me see if there's any storm reports at this hour. Of course, this is just now happening. And once we get we have one lone storm report back over towards Lorain County, but of course that is several roads flooded around Elyria. Okay, so yeah, this is one of those concerns for our friends over towards Elyria and also Lorain at this hour. So again, our people over there commuting, or if you're heading out later this evening, coming home, or if you know anybody that's coming home, or if you have anybody that is headed out overnight to work, an early shift, a graveyard shift, as my family in Mississippi likes to call it, or even early tomorrow morning. Any sort of school bus routes, just give a look-see, check those school bus routes early for tomorrow morning as well, with schools going back into session. These are the warnings that we have in effect. We have that tornado warning in effect through about 7 p.m. for us this evening, and we have this flash flood warning also in effect. This flash flood warning is the one that's going to stick with us here for the better portion of the evening through about 8:45 this evening. That tornado warning will expire as well as this flash flood warning. The tornado warning will expire before the flash flood warning. So we still have roughly about 11 minutes left on that. This is the primary concern, of course, right now with the tornado warning. But again, there's also an elevated concern given the flash flooding threat over in this region. As far as estimated rainfall at this point, let's talk about what that looks like here as well. Let's see here. Let me pull this back up here and show you what this radar looks like. Right now, very heavy rain back over towards also Elyria and also Lorain. And I believe we have a phoner from our good friend meteorologist Matt Wentz as well. Matt, can you hear me?
Yeah, Jason, you got me okay?
I got you okay, my friend. What are you seeing and experiencing over in this area there for that tornado warning?
Yeah, boy, Jason, you've been covering it. We've got two things that we need to worry about. We've got flash flooding on the west side with lots of flooding back towards Elyria. But this tornado warning you've been covering, Jason, it's just such a squirrely cell. It's not your typical fast-moving supercell. It's just kind of this very slow-moving, meandering, moisture-filled storm that continues to show signs of some strong rotation. Yeah. Now, the last couple scans, we've seen that rotation kind of weaken up a little bit, but when you started your live coverage, it was almost over Harpersfield, and now it's still almost over Harpersfield. Like, this thing's not moving a whole lot. So, a couple areas that we're watching that this continues to move along is right along 307, which runs east and west from Harpersfield to Austinburg. If you're anywhere along 307 and even south of that, along the Grand River, as you get over towards, there's all sorts of wineries out here. I know Lorello Vineyards is out on 307. There's some others as you get back, like Rosabella, as you're getting out towards the Austinburg area. All those areas between 90 and 307, that's a pretty small area, but that's where we've been seeing this rotation as it heads to the east. But you mentioned it. Geneva's in that watch box. I think the rotation south of Geneva right now, Austinburg, you need to be in your safe place as well. But it's just a squirrely cell, Jason. It really is. It's not one of those robust signatures in terms of the tornado, but there's enough rotation that it's warned, and I totally agree with that. I think it should be.
Matt, if you can, describe sort of this area here. Of course, I've been here roughly about a year right now, but for this area, it's not heavily populated, but there are some really important things, not just homes, but also businesses in this area as well. Trees as well that can be uprooted, certainly with any sort of rotation that's happening, whether it's straight line winds, but of course with this, we got the rotation that's happening as well. And the soil is very moist given the rainfall that we've had recently.
Yeah, we've had rainfall last couple of days out there. They picked up some really good rain last night. They're getting it again today. But you're right. It's sparsely populated. There's a decent population in Geneva, obviously. Harpersfield's got a good population as well. But you get out in the rural areas, there's not a lot of houses, but it's those people that we're on air for, obviously. And the other thing is this is a destination now. 20 years ago, Ashtabula County when I grew up there, it wasn't that big of a destination. But now with all the vineyards, there's people coming from all over the U.S. to visit here. And so we may have people that are unfamiliar with that area. The most populated area where this tornado circulation is probably the 534 intersection there, where 534 that goes up to Geneva on the Lake Geneva kind of intersects I-90. A lot of hotels there. The Spire Institute's there as well. They've got the Aquatic Center. That whole area right now is under where this rotation is. It'll eventually head out towards the east a little bit. So, once it does, we're talking like Barnum Road area, Clay Street, which is just east of Geneva. They need to be in a safe place as this continues. And Barnum Road obviously runs down to 307 as well. So those are the areas we're watching. But it's over a pretty populated area by Ashtabula County standards right now. It's going to eventually head out towards the east a little bit. So we'll have eyes on Austinburg. I'm getting some text in from Jefferson. Jefferson looks okay with this right now. I think it's going to hug the I-90 corridor. But again, it's a populated area because it's a destination, and we're still sitting in late summer, so there's still a lot of people out there at the vineyard.
Absolutely, Matt, and I appreciate you so much. And you are speaking the gospel right now, certainly as people are coming off of a weekend, becoming much more populated, a destination spot, as you were saying as well. I know you and I often discuss just sort of the anomalies that happen across Northeast Ohio when we're talking about Lake Erie and how you can just get these quick spin-ups that happen in the atmosphere, like we had last night with Holmes, like we're dealing with today as well. This is very, very much so the time of the season where we start to get a little bit of change happening in the atmosphere, certainly with these frontal boundaries getting stronger and stronger as we get towards of a changing season.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, we could have a tornado any time of year, to be honest. I mean, we've seen some in November and October recently. It's just, you just have to keep an eye on these storms as they move through. And again, this isn't a huge supercell setup. It doesn't scream severe weather today. But the way this storm is interacting with the inflow out of the south and perhaps some outflow out of the north, it's just continuing to show some rotation. Now, the last couple scans, that rotation's really kind of broadened out a little bit. So we're not seeing that kind of tight couplet that we had when it was west of Harpersfield. It's kind of more broad now. So I would not be surprised if the Weather Service maybe in their next update here did drop this or change it down to a severe thunderstorm warning. I'm not seeing any wording from them right now, but it does look like our chances have lessened up that there's a tornado from this storm, and it's more just a broad rotation. And Jason, the other thing you've been covering so nicely here on this live coverage has been that flooding out towards the west. Mm-hmm. It has been raining cats and dogs near Elyria, over towards North Ridgeville, even Lorain County. I mean, you talked about Lorain and Avon and Sheffield. The rain is finally starting to end there. It looks like that last line as that pushes east is finally going to clear them out, at least for a little bit, where we can start to dry out. But boy, have they seen a lot of rain out there. So we not only have that, but we have that tornado warning that we've been following here as well.
Absolutely, Matt, and I appreciate you so much. And just as you just spoke on, the tornado warning has since expired from National Weather Service. That's good news for our friends over in Ashtabula County. We're going to continue watching that all throughout the evening and tracking it for you. And if there should be any sort of quick spin-ups happen elsewhere, of course, we'll follow that right here on air, as well as online on 3news.com, and you can track it right along with us on the 3 News app. We'll now rejoin you with your scheduled programming. And Lorain and also Elyria will be watching you as well with the flash flooding concerns.
Different